Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vince.
It is becoming harder to remember when we were all friends.
We got Chris.
Only two people in this country can override this podcast, me and the president.
Whoa, that's a power. And I'm Kia. Hi, welcome to the show. Today we're finishing reading Batman Dark Victory. It was a pretty big story, 0 through 13 issues, so 14 total. We read the first half last time, so this time we're doing 7 through 13. And then after that, we are jumping over to the Korvac Saga. We are on the second part of that in Avengers 168. I guess maybe the third if you count that Thor annual. I don't know. Yeah, let's just jump into Dark Victory, because I think we should probably do a little bit of recap. People remember what we were talking about last time. There's a killer on the loose, another holiday killer who kills people on holidays. Alberto Falcone, who was the first holiday killer from Batman The Long Halloween, is out of prison, so he's a suspect. You got Harvey Dent, who's turned into Two-Face. He's a suspect. Who do we got? Do we maybe have Harvey Dent's wife a suspect? Gilda Dent. She comes up a lot.
The DA, Janice Porter, the new DA.
Janice Porter, the new DA, taking Harvey Dent's job. Yeah,
and she's sleeping with Harvey Dent in the sewers, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes Harvey Dent comes up to her hotel room. Sure. But Harvey Dent does have like an office in the sewers and a lot of friends. He's made friends with all the bad guys. Who else? We've got all the Falcone siblings. Alberto's out of prison. You've got Sofia Falcone Gigante, who is paralyzed in a wheelchair. Sábado Gigante. We got Mario Falcone, who's trying to bring a good name to the Falcone everything.
And then we got a bunch of families. We got the Zuccos, we got the Vitis,
too many
the
families.
Maronis. Don't really pay attention to them. They're killing all cops though. The Hangman's killing cops.
Yes. The new Hangman Holiday killer is killing cops and leaving notes in Hangman style. And you know how every issue, I don't know if we mentioned this last time, it has Gordon sitting at his desk going over clues, and there's like a clue board behind him. And I do like how it adds more clues with each different issue that comes around. I think the killer is Gordon's son, because Gordon's son has drawn a picture of Daddy, and it's on his little bulletin board to remind him of his kid. But the font and the drawing style looks just like the Hangman's. So I'm pretty sure that
Gordon's son does end up being a killer. That is true.
What?
Not in this story, but yes.
What?
Yes.
He's got that. He's got the signs of the handwriting, the killer handwriting, I guess. Wow. All right, I had no idea.
James Gordon Jr. I know it's in the Scott Snyder, Francisco Francavilla story, right before the New 52. It's Dick Grayson, Nightwing has to take on.
Well, all right, cool. I didn't know James
it's good.
Gordon's son. All right, okay. Well, I did not expect to hear that, but I'm glad my intuition, my detective.
Somebody else read Dark
World's
Victory.
Greatest Detective.
Somebody else read Dark Victory and was like,
"Not the same thing." All right, so we're jumping into issue 7 through 13, then Avengers. Let's do it. We've got at the end of issue 6, the last police to be hanged on St. Patrick's Day was hung in Harvey Dent's old backyard. Batman's investigating. The police show up before he can finish, and so he runs away. Harvey Dent's sleeping with Janice Porter, and he's like, I gotta go. I'm late to court. But it's like a supervillain court in the sewers where they're trying to figure out who this Hangman's identity is. And they've got Calendar Man on trial. Everybody has escaped from Arkham in the first half of this. So they're all out and about in the sewers, and they're like hanging out together and doing these weird mock trials. Calendar Man also has new...
With Jay Reinhold? Yeah.
He's got new tattoos on his head of the months that are like not consistent from panel to panel either. You can't fit all 12 months on his head based on the font size, but they're definitely on there, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, because September's over by his right ear, yet you're already in April by the time you get around to his right eye.
I don't know.
I do.
It's also a bad choice of tattoo, I think. Calendar Man, you fucked up.
It's terrible. I'm not sure if Tim Sale came up with it, and then Jeff Loeb's like, because even the characters in the things say like, that's a dumb redesign. Why did you do this?
Yeah, I don't know. And whatever. I mean, maybe so he's more identifiable at the end or whatever. I don't know. So calendar.
It is funny because like Long Halloween tried to make them this like Hannibal Lecter, guy that they have to go to for clues, but he's so irrelevant by this. Like he's already
really
a joke.
is. And every time he's like, the calendar man is so important, and y'all cannot forget about me, okay? And that's like his only line every time he comes up.
I'm convinced that they started Long Halloween and didn't know Calendar Man existed, and then halfway through we're like, shit. Okay, we'll fit him in somehow.
There's a lot of stuff that I feel like they forgot existed in this story. We'll get to that later. But Calendar Man says, we got all these clues. It's not me. I'm not the Hangman Killer. All signs point to Harvey Dent, though. And Harvey Dent's like, yeah, that's a problem. We got to stop getting all these clues to point towards me. Meanwhile, at the Falcone estate, Alberto Falcone, he's out on parole. He is talking to his dad's. He thinks it's his dad's ghost. Like he hears his dad's voice, and he's definitely hearing some kind of a voice. And his dad has gotten him a present. And it's a gun with a taped handle, just like he likes, and like a baby nipple on it. I guess that's for like a silencer. Is that
that was the weapon in Long Halloween.
Okay. And so it's been given back to him. Sofia Falcone Gigante comes in and asks, "Hey, are you with me or are you with Mario?" Because Mario's trying to go straight, and Alberto's like, "Nah, I just got my own plans." Did he have his own plans? It never seems like he actually did have his own plans, but he says he does. There's a weird scene here now where Alfred, like Batman, is doing his studying and like a clue thinking in the Batcave, and Alfred keeps correcting Batman on different things. He's like, "Are you sure that's what the first clue said? Like, actually, I think it was worded like this." And he's like proving that Batman is actually fallible, and Batman gets real mad and smashes his computer monitor. It's very out of character, and I might be wrong. This is how he realized that he was exposed to Scarecrow's fear gas on Christmas Eve, and that's been messing with his decisions, and that's why he's kind of erratic recently. It's St. Patrick's Day. It's after St. Patrick's Day now. What? And it's just now rearing its head. I'm very confused by this. Is that how y'all read it?
His only fear is that like he's a little wrong on details, which I guess is his greatest fear, is that like he's not precise.
Maybe, I don't know.
Sure,
and then it never seems to come back again. So maybe just realizing he had it is like, all right, we're good now.
Knowing's half the battle.
I got it. Yeah, knowing's half the battle.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense.
It's whatever. Gordon is talking to his wife. He's about to head home, but the bat signal's lit. He heads up, and then a noose comes down, and it gets him. Oh my God, he's gonna get hung. And then we see Harvey holding the rope, and then Batman shows up to save him. But Harvey was not really holding the rope; he was cutting down the rope to save him. He knew somebody was gonna go after Gordon, so he also showed up to save him. What a good guy, Two-Face. And he's like, I'm not going to tell you who I saw, though. Instead, I'm going to run away. And they do find a case file for when Mario Falcone was arrested. There's a lot of little, like, things that you're like, oh, my God, look at this connection from this person to that person. And it never really feels like it means anything, I don't know. Mario Falcone was arrested, used to be a bad guy. That's fine. Meanwhile, and then the arresting officers were two of the dead hung cops. Oh no, maybe it's Mario Falcone. Who knows? Meanwhile, we have the Zuko guy. How does the Zuko guy relate to the Maronis? They're like working together, but he's like his own mob guy, his own family, right?
I think they're like a sub family or something.
Yeah.
Or a contracted family.
Okay. That makes sense.
Go back to the Long Halloween. They had a big chart.
I will not. And Zuko has a plan, and he's like, yeah, we're going to go after this circus with the flying Graysons at it. Oh my God, are we going to get Robin?
This seems awful late.
It does seem very late. Like, what? Yeah.
This is a 13-issue series, and issue 7 we're introducing the concept of a Graysons and a cliffhanger, which just seems way too late for me.
I mean, we mentioned this in the last episode as well, but this is a continuation of like the year one timeline of Batman, and going with that. So it is meant to be like one of Batman's earlier years still. And so, kind of makes sense that he's also going through all this other stuff. But it's almost to the book's detriment a little bit, where it's like, hey, we're trying to tell this mystery story, but also we're just gonna like weave in other things that we know happened in Batman's life around this time. And
Yeah,
I don't
there's
know,
got to be better
sometimes it
ways to
works.
do it. There's got to be better.
I found myself caring about that stuff more, actually. Of like,
Yeah.
let me just watch this Batman and Robin origin stuff. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, well, we're about to get to a great Batman and Robin origin for our April Fool's Day.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we'll
Buckle
get
up.
there. All right. We're jumping into issue 8 now. It's Mother's Day. Batman was going to visit his mom's grave, but he's got to deal with the Joker, who's out and about doing stuff.
With his giant Tim Sale teeth.
Yeah. Oh God, they're huge teeth. And he's attacking the Maroni family, but it's also like his goons that are wearing Joker masks that also kill them so they can't talk. Why would you sign up to be a Joker goon?
I do love that is this also the Maroni's like restaurant that keeps getting blown up like every other month in this series?
Yeah,
I find
they're
that
not
really funny.
very-
I find that a
it's
funny
pretty
running
good.
gag.
There are, for like, as much as I don't like this story, there are a lot of fun things all throughout it, because it is kind of just like a best of Batman, and you get a little bit of everything, and that's fine. All the bad guys at this point are working together. Like, you know, we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but yeah, you got Two-Face, Joker, Poison Ivy, Solomon Grundy, everybody's there. Bruce Wayne now is at a meeting with Mario Falcone. I don't know why he showed up to this meeting when he wouldn't even like get out of the pool to talk to him. And he goes, it's a meeting with the Gotham Bank as well, but the Joker's goons interrupt here, and they're shooting him up. Gordon gets the call, and he's like, oh God, I gotta run off. And he's got this new assigned bodyguard from when he almost got killed, but the bodyguard's been hung by the car. Oh no, that guy's dead. Lots of dead cops. The Hangman's note says
He does
murder
also
in the first degree.
he also does like a weird call out to Porter, because Porter talks about like, well, Mario didn't, you know. I wonder if Mario's all right. He's like, why are you calling him Mario? His name's Falcone.
Oh, yeah.
Like, or Mr. Falcone. Like, you're very familiar and friendly.
Yeah,
With this
very
Falcone
buddy
guy.
with Mario Falcone. Yeah. It was around this point as well that I'm like, I don't think these clues are important on the Hangman's note. Like, I've been writing them down in the notes because it's like, what am I not gonna write it down, right? But I'm like, these are all just like very common phrases. Part of me was like, maybe I'll go back and see which letters were missing in all those and write them out.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking if that would maybe be like an acrostic, like, oh, the none of you are safe. Like that O is like important.
Right.
Like
or
a
something.
jumble, or you know, that, or the letters that were crossed out. Like that's actually the real message.
Or something. Or the paper behind it and like what was circled. I had ideas.
It meant nothing.
Or it meant nothing.
It happens to just tie to a chart that's specifically printed.
It doesn't even. Hold on. It might not even, though. It really might not even. We'll get there. All right. We back in the mansion. The real Joker is there. He throws Sofia Falcone Gigante down a flight of stairs in her wheelchair. Very rude of the Joker. Alberto Falcone then shows up and shoots the Joker. Not like he doesn't kill him, but he shoots him in like the arm. And which one of y'all sent this picture in like the group thread? We were talking about it. We're like, yeah, it's very uncharacteristic for the Joker. What's his line?
He says, "You shot me, you bitch," which I don't like. The Joker, I understand, is a homicidal maniac and he's chaotic.
Sure,
but I don't see him calling characters bitch. Like I don't
especially
see
Alberto
that.
Falcone. It doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. It
He doesn't call people names in that fashion. That vulgar, like,
yeah.
And even if he was like the not smiley Joker, like the scary Joker, he would come up with still something different to say. Like,
Yeah.
it's crude and yet like sexist, but he's calling a dude it. It's weird. Also, the '90s were weird. We threw around some words a lot that we shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Wait, was this the '90s? I thought this was the early 2000s.
I think it's 99, 2000.
90s.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, after that we get Batman jumps in through the window and he instantly goes after Alberto. He's like, "You shot a freaking gun! Oh my god!" And Sophia's like, "Dude, the Joker's getting away. He threw me down the stairs." And this was actually kind of a nice scene. Batman like gets the Joker and like tackles him or whatever, and Joker says, like he laughs. He's like, "That's really funny. I was gonna kill them." And it's like, wow, that's like Batman's enemies, but at the same time, can't do things that way.
Yeah. How ironic.
How ironic.
Jeff Loeb missed an opportunity to reference The Big Lebowski, which is already out by this point, where he could have been. I've seen a lot of spinals in my day, dude, and I think she's a faker. Turn the wheelchair upside down.
Yeah. I like that. It was. We'll talk more about Sofia Gigante later. We've got now Zuko has gone to Haley's circus. He's what's he doing? He's like demanding he sell or like help him with some scheme or something like that. And I was like, hey,
he's going to use his trucks as part of his like basically to run goods, around with the circus
because they cross state lines a lot. And no one's going to be looking.
That makes sense.
In the tiger pin. I'm like, you know what? That's some good mob shit. I'm okay with that.
That's a good plan.
If that was in Goodfellas, I'd be on board. I'm like, yeah, that's clever.
Yeah, but the circus guy's not feeling it. He's not gonna partake in this. And Zuko's like, hey, it'd be a shame if anything happened to those flying Graysons. And there's a small child in the background who's kind of eavesdropping and hearing this.
Be a shame if I had to create some sort of superhero origin story over here.
And guess who has tickets to this circus because of a donation he made? It's Bruce Wayne, who doesn't have time for anything. But Alfred says, you know what? You should go to the circus. Why not?
Your mother loved it, and it's Mother's Day.
Yeah, Selena Kyle is missing, so just go on your own to the circus as an adult.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The line, the first line of this issue though, like just fucks with me because he goes, "It's Mother's Day," despite and he talks about, or maybe it's not the first line, but there's definitely a point in here where he goes, "Normally I think about this as my father's house, but on days like this, I think about my mother," which means 364 days of the year he does not think about his mom at all. He doesn't care about his dead mom at all, except on Mother's Day.
He says on days like this. So there's other days like Mother's Day.
True.
Right? Yeah.
Grandparents' Day.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows? So issue 9, it's now Father's Day. So it's the day that he thinks about his dad. And we see Dick Grayson lose his family at the circus. I do like the way they did this. It's very visual here. And it's a nice way to just be like, yeah, sure, we know we're retelling the story and you've probably seen it before. So we'll just kind of do it in some quick visuals. You see Bruce like in the audience kind of with a bit of a spotlight on him. And he sees all this happen. And he decides he's going to adopt Dick Grayson.
We never see the decision, though. We just see him, like, within a month, he's living now at Wayne Manor, which has always been weird. I don't know. I mean, he's rich. I guess he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
He can do whatever he wants, yeah.
but still, I was like, where were the strings pulled? Why? And this is where the story's like, well, y'all know Robin, so we're not going to tell you this story.
Yeah.
Like, if you thought this was like everything you wanted to know about Batman, like the way year 1 is, like, we've skipped a lot now. So,
a lot. And the book seems to be under. I mean, it like you said, there's more interesting stuff happening like on the margins of it because it's just like this is just dragging on. This investigation of Holiday 2.0. You have to assume he's doing other stuff, right? Batman can't just be dealing with this case for this long, can he?
Right. Yeah, and I mean, there's usually like, exactly. I think like in the Law and Order, there's a context that they're doing multiple episodes at the same time. If you follow the date stamps, which is cool.
Right.
But
that's fair. That's good. Now my new headcanon is that Batman just kind of like gets busy with other stuff, and then a holiday rolls around, and he's like, "Shit, it's a holiday. There's this other guy I've been dealing with. God damn it!" And he just like kind of forgets about it.
He probably went skiing with his friend and
Yeah.
He went skiing with his friend, fought Ra's al Ghul, like, earlier this month. He's like, shit, I got to get back. It's 4th of July.
Yeah. What were you saying, Chris, about skiing?
No, I was saying he's like, oh, shit, I got to stop looking for Firefly. It's almost April Fool's.
I still got to think,
like low level.
I would love to see them think about, like, at least, like, one scene of, like, what holidays are in this month? Okay, which one could this be?
Yeah. Well, it's harder for that Batman Arkham City where they had that achievement where if you talk to Calendar Man for 12 holidays, because they had to find one for August. That's the real head scratcher. You're like, what even is there?
And is that with the real time clock? Like you gotta go bug him on like August 12th or whatever?
Yeah, you can change your PlayStation 3's settings or whatever, but yes.
Wow. Wow.
Ninja Turtles video game
Amazing.
for GameCube did that you had a pumpkin head on Halloween. It was amazing.
Yeah, he has special dialogue for all 12 holidays, and he has special dialogue for 12 lead ups to the holiday, telling you like, oh, Father's Day is coming up. It's only blah blah blah, and
So what was the August holiday they went with?
it was, I think, like Saint Roach or something like that. It was something where I was like, what is that?
So do they rotate for like it being on different Mondays for like Memorial Day or Labor Day, or do they rotate for like Easter? Or does Easter not count as a holiday? These are my questions.
Well,
I have a lot of questions. I'm more interested in this now than Dark Victory.
And why is he obsessed with one per month? Like, if he cares about holidays, just let that be your thing. Like, why are the months?
As we're about to learn, he's the Hangman Killer, but then he's not.
He's not.
Does he have the fun tattoos on his head?
So it does change for the year. So like 2021, if you were still doing this on like the remaster, May 9th was Mother's Day, but then 2022, May 8th is Mother's Day.
Nice. They built it in.
So it is always, it's always the first Monday of September, the last Thursday of November.
That's pretty good. That's
all
pretty
of that
good.
stuff. April Fool's Day is the only April one, so they don't do Easter.
Okay.
Oh,
And it's I don't know, Saint Roch's Day, August 16th. I have no idea what that is.
That's weird because they tend to avoid like denominational or Christian holidays other than obviously Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So is April Fool's Day a Christian holiday?
Yeah. No, but like they don't have Easter and they don't have, like those kind of things. But then St. Roach's Day, they just had to find something, I guess.
All right. We're very off topic. Let's get back to we've got back at the mansion. We've got Dick Grayson, who is hanging out on a chandelier, trying to talking to Alfred. Alfred's trying to get him to come down. Was this a scene out of the animated series? I feel like I've seen this.
This is a post Batman Forever world. This is a scene out of Batman Forever.
Yep.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, he's jumping around. This is also not when he's being an asshole about cars. But that's another scene.
There are so many scenes that did really feel like, especially with the Robin stuff, that I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, it was smart of you to put it in your book because it's the most interesting part. But
it's only been 4 years.
Yeah. It is weird. How old is he supposed to be in Batman Forever? Like, is he supposed to be like 15? Because he's clearly an adult man.
Yeah.
Okay, that I'm going to the thing. I'm going to find out how old Chris O'Donnell was on that.
Sure, you look that up.
Over under 25. Well, I told him,
he's D'Artagnan in the Three Musketeers. What, the year before?
Older than 25. I think.
He was 25 when it came out. Yeah.
Wow.
So meanwhile, Zuko, who caused the Graysons to their rope broke or whatever, he's out here sweating about the Grayson murder, and his friend Edward Skeevers says, "Hey, you should go ask the Maronis." But he's like, "No, I'm just gonna wait it out. I don't want to mess with them." And Edward Skeevers has been named now. He's on that chart of people because I guess he's important. All three Falcone siblings have now been arrested as well. They're in a police station, in more of a holding room, because they were around with this whole Joker thing, and they're arguing while Batman and Gordon are kind of listening in. And Alberto is on probation. And he has a gun and he shot the Joker. So he's kind of in trouble for that because you shouldn't have a gun when you're on probation. But the judge says, nah, they're all free to go. And Gordon's like, that's bullshit. Why? How? It's the same gun he used when he was literally a serial killer. This can't be okay. And I'm also confused. Why is it okay? We get another tender scene between...
Because the DA's a criminal.
The DA's a criminal, but he trusts first.
Also, I mean, to put on my lawyer hat for a moment, he hasn't broken his house arrest. Batman says, you figured out a way to do it. He's like, no, I haven't. I've just been staying here. He didn't ask for the gun. He didn't buy the gun. The gun was in the house, and he used it to save his sister's life. So,
all right.
Castle Doctrine in Gotham City. Yes, he can't keep the gun. You can confiscate it if you're Gotham. But I think it's kind of a stretch to be like, you violated paroles. Prove exactly what he did, that he, has actually done something that they specifically told him not to do. Did they say you can't have ghosts give you?
Chris,
How do they know
mob
where he
lawyer.
got the gun?
Chris, you'd
Come
be a
on,
great
how do
mob
they know?
lawyer. You'd be a great mob
Yeah.
lawyer.
Yeah.
Jeez, you already are a mob lawyer. I don't trust you anymore.
You
Shit.
have to establish mens rea, and he didn't want the gun.
All right. Okay. All right.
So it's kind of a tough sell, I think.
Fine. We'll go with it.
You
We'll
convinced
defer
me.
to your legalese.
You convinced me. Sounds good.
So we get another tender scene here with Alfred and Dick, where Dick Grayson's like in Bruce Wayne's parents' bedroom that doesn't really get used, and Alfred kind of tells him that Bruce Wayne is an orphan as well. Gordon is now talking to his secret team that we forgot about for 3 issues because we forgot they existed. But he totally has this secret team that has also been investigating the calendar killers. And they're like all talking like, y'all got anything? And like, well, this Gustafson guy, the guy who was your bodyguard who got killed by the car, he's the first killer to have no connection to Harvey Dent. And Gordon's like, all right. Good thinking. This meeting is adjourned. I got to get back to my kid. Hey, wait a minute. Have any of you seen the other member of our team who's not here right now that we haven't brought up until the end of the meeting? Well, yeah, turns out he's dead. That sucks. We have Batman meeting Dick Grayson now for the first time. They talk about the circus, and Dick says, "Hey, I saw a big fat guy threatening Haley," and so Bruce has a little bit of a lead. Then he goes and visits his parents' graves and said that he thinks he can make a difference in Dick Grayson's life, even though he doesn't know if he can be a father figure. It was pretty nice. There's a lot of good scenes throughout this that did resonate with me. Yeah, nice stuff. Issue 10. We've got... How did we get here? Gordon and his team are all down in the sewers, and all the bad guys are also there, and it's like they're playing... like GoldenEye, and they're not really, but it does feel like that, where it's just like, all right, we got a team game going, let's go, start. But I guess they're down there investigating, and they know they're all down there, and the bad guys know they're being chased, so it's going. There's Two Freeze, there's Mr. Freeze, there's Mad Hatter. Lopez, one of the members of Gordon's team, gets frozen for a little bit, but Gordon breaks her out, and she's like recovering, and Batman passes her by, and she says, "Oh, make sure to watch over him. I know you will." And Batman does. He takes out the Mad Hatter, who had a really clean shot on Gordon. Gordon was not being careful. And then one of his other teammates gets hanged. Oh no! The note says, "Justice is blind." Oh no! And Two-Face is like right there by the death again. And he's like, "No, I didn't kill him, but I've got this other team member. Yeah, I've got this other cop of yours at gunpoint." And Gordon says, "Hey, put it down, or I'll shoot you." And he was like, "No, you won't." He goes, "Yeah, I will." So he does put it down. Then Two-Face lets himself get arrested. I'm like, all right. I wasn't super buying it, but I bought it later. Meanwhile, Robin is eavesdropping on some guy who's like leaning on Haley at the circus and saying, "Hey, Zuko's gonna come back, and if you don't join in on this mob stuff, we're going to make what happened to the Flying Graysons look like nothing in comparison to what we'll do to you." And then Robin throws a rock through the window and like gets his attention, and then he smacks him in the head. And he's like, "Hey, what do you know about the Graysons?" And he's not very good at it because Skeevers comes up behind him, hits him in the head. And then Batman's there. Batman's there watching over Robin. And he says, "Hey, you tell everybody the circus is off limits." All right. Batman cares about the circus. And Robin's knocked out and takes him to the Batcave. And he says, "Hey, I'm not going to let you go out there untrained." And he reveals that he's Batman. Whoa.
Yeah, Robin's like, "I see you more than I see Bruce Wayne." And he unmasks.
It's pretty nice. I like, again, all these Robin scenes. The Robin scenes in this book really are the best. This could have just been... we read Robin year 1, and I think this, you cut out the first half, you cut out the calendar stuff, and then this could be Robin year 1. Right. You did pretty good. So issue 11, boy, what is this camera angle on Janice Porter visiting Harvey in his cell? Her neck is turned so far to the right. Her neck has to be broken. But she's talking about how they're going to go up against each other in court, and Harvey's going to defend himself. Okay, cool. Batman goes after the Maronis to find Zuko,
he said you're starting to sound a lot like Gilda. At which point, for about the next 2 issues, I thought she might be Gilda with a wig. I thought she might be his murder wife with his murderer wife with a wig, and he's like, "You're starting to sound like Gilda. You need to start sounding like Janice again."
Wait, who managed to like move up to DA?
Yeah, that's
with
where it
this
fell
new
apart.
persona?
That's where it fell apart.
All right.
But you can be
Went to
elected
law
DA
school.
here in my town, so that's fine. Like,
Went to law school under a different name.
yeah,
Good for her. Good for her.
it fell apart pretty
So-
quickly. But I feel like if you scratch the surface of this mystery, a lot of things fall apart. So
Yeah.
It's a
Once
lot
they
of
once they revealed the Janice stuff, I was like, what?
What?
didn't
Yeah, a
make
lot
any
of it
sense.
was like, yeah, all right.
So that's not true. Janice is not his wife that's missing, even though she looks
No,
the exact
not
same
at
but
all.
with a wig.
No.
Yeah.
It is funny too. We didn't even pick up on it as a clue, but Janus, of course, like the Roman god, Janus, the
Two-Faced.
two-headed. Yes, the two-headed Roman god.
like from GoldenEye. That's what Sean
Yeah,
Bean's name was.
exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, Batman is finding out where Zuko is, and
That's my Batman 66 level deduction. I'm like, jeez.
of course, it can't be. All right. Robin is training, and he's like, "All right, I'm ready to go. I've been training for a month. I should be out there with Batman." And Batman's like, "Yeah, it's time. We know where Zuko is. Let's go."
I do like that
Alberto-
Batman's like, we're definitely gonna get this kid's parents murdered. Like he's on board. It's like not what like the Batman I know, but it's also like, yeah, I can see it.
There's narration. There's narration of him that is like, "Yeah, I never found my parents' killer, and I always think about it. Let's just kill this guy's parents' killer. Why not? Let's do it."
He's like, it's been a month. We're good. We're good to go. He's a little loose cannon.
Yeah, very different from the Batman Begins continuity where he did run into his parents' killer.
Or the Batman 89 continuity.
Oh, yes, true. It's the Joker. That's so stupid.
He has no chill.
That's definitely screenwriters that had never read a comic book where they're like, but what if the villain and hero were combined, intertwined in destiny? Like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
So we've got now Alberto. He's hearing this voice again of his dad, and he's like, "Hey, you got to kill Sophia." And so he goes into a room with the nipple gun, and she's like looking in the mirror, and she sees the face of her father because she's all bald. She's like wearing a wig, and she looks terrible, and she's got scratch marks on her face. And Alberto sees all this, and he doesn't shoot.
And it's at this point where I thought also that Sophia was not Sophia anymore, and she was actually Carmine Falcone replacing her.
That's what I thought. I thought it was Carmine Falcone, like pretending to be somebody else. Yeah.
Honestly, that would have been a better twist.
It really would have been. So then Batman goes after Zuko and like scares him out of his restaurant or whatever, and Robin attacks him. And then poor Zuko, he has a heart attack, and he's like begging for help, and he says, "I'll give you a bunch of information." And the only thing he can get out is that the Maronis, those brothers, the Italian brothers, they're twins. All right, was that important? Okay, and that's all we learn, and the poor guy dies.
Yeah, Batman's
so
like, I'm glad he got this closure. He got to see the guy who killed his parents have a heart attack and die.
I don't know if Robin felt great about it, but it happened. And now we've got day one of the Harvey Dent trial.
Right. At this point, Batman doesn't want Robin to be like a permanent sidekick. He's like, this is a one-time
Yes.
thing. You've got
He's like, once. I'm going to help you find your parents' killer. That's it. And then we're done after this.
And is he still going to live in his house, or is that also done?
I don't know, probably.
Unclear.
You can't unadopt him. So Batman, so now day one of the trial, Mario Falcone is talking to a dude in the shadows, and he's like, don't worry, I wasn't followed. Feels like you've got more to lose than me. Who's he talking to? Janice Porter. What? She's got a connection to Mario Falcone? I don't know. It's fine. We already knew she's bad. Whatever. I don't know. This reveal was like it didn't do anything for me.
She was the dude in the shadows. Yeah. There is like one extra thing that he says something about like his deal with her. He has some type of deal.
Well, he's basically informing on the Falcone family, basically, right? Yeah. But he doesn't know that it's she's also corrupt and relaying that to Two-Face.
Mm-hmm. We've got now they're in court, and Harvey Dent will not swear in because he's like, "I'm not Harvey Dent, I'm Two-Face." And they're like, "Well, okay, then that means you can't defend yourself because we said Harvey Dent could defend himself, but Two-Face isn't a lawyer." So he's like, and he flips his coin. He's like, all right, I'll swear in as Harvey Dent. That's fine. And also, Batman is literally hiding just like up on the wall. It looks like he's in full view of the jury. Like if any one of the jury just glances up, they're gonna see him on the wall. It's a very hiding spot.
It's Arkham City, Arkham Asylum rules where they're like, oh, those
yeah, their field of vision is lower.
Wayne. Yeah, Bruce Wayne installed all those gargoyles in our courthouses. No one looks at them.
Do people get bored in like a public court situation like that and look up? I feel like I would get bored and start looking at things.
Yeah.
Of course.
You're gonna memorize that damn ceiling if you're.
I remember getting bored at like the symphony and counting how many lights were like on each, and how many bars of lights were at Laurie Auditorium. I think there's 14 bars.
Yeah, that's why all the courthouses always have like paintings of former judges and like different stuff, so that there's something for you to look at when you're bored.
And not Batman.
Yeah,
and
anything but Batman.
And they all have dialogue bubbles on their portraits saying, "Hey, pay attention to the case." We have okay, so Harvey is defending himself, saying, "Hey, all these Harvey Dent files about all the people who were killed, they were stolen while they were in your office, Miss DA." And she's like, "Yeah, they all got stolen before the murder started happening." I was like, "Yeah, it's very convenient." Then Two-Face asks what time it is, and then Poison Ivy and Solomon Grundy and Mr. Freeze all pop out of the ground, and they all escape, and they take the evidence with them, and they freeze up the ground below them. LOL. Yeah. That was a pretty good plan. Two-Face wanted to get arrested so he could do all that. Pretty good.
Yeah, none of that made any sense. And as you know, trials are not. I don't expect them to be accurate, but the fact that he's like asking the DA questions on the stand, I was like, why are you humoring this?
Yeah, that's not how this works. Poison Ivy afterwards is like, "Hey, that was a great plan. It worked well." And she tries to make out with Two-Face. And she gets rejected, and he's like, "No, I only love my wife, Kilda." He's got a picture behind her. Okay. And then another member of not Harvey's team. Why did I write Harvey's team? Another member of Gordon's secret team gets taken out. What was her name? Like Watkins?
Wilcox? Was it Wilcox?
Wilcox. There we go. She is in the elevator, and she looks up, and she says, "You, but we," and she's dead. So recognizes her. Or recognizes somebody. We don't know who it was. I kind of spoiled it a little bit. That's good.
It's also
Gordon...
in the previous issue. They're like, "What do we know about the killer?" Well, he only kills men, and then the next killing is a woman. Yeah. I'm like, well, then, okay. Why did? It seems like
why does that matter?
They had the upper body strength to lift James Gordon and other large men up in the air and hang them until dead, or I guess kill them first and hang their limp corpses, which also requires a lot of upper body strength.
There's also a pulley system, which, as we know, it's a simple machine that helps not require as much upper body strength. So, could just be a smart person.
Right, but they
did really well in 5th grade science.
Yeah, hanging someone. I mean, I know we all know this, right? But to snap someone's neck requires a drop. You can't just, hang someone and lift them up and have them immediately die. It would take a long time, especially because if you had their hands behind their back, they would asphyxiate pretty quickly. But if you didn't, they'd be holding the rope, and it would be a long time. So someone with enough strength to do these things. And again, they did physically lift up Commissioner Gordon. We saw that, right? Whenever he got knocked out. So again, the reveal doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we'll get to the
really. I mean, Alberto and Sophia should both be cleared. Alberto because he's a skinny little nerd, far too weak to do that. And Sophia because she's in a wheelchair, obviously.
So we're on issue 12 now. Gordon's board, and the little first preview panel has much less on it because all the clues were stolen. All right. Page 1 and 2 and 3. Page 1, it's just huge images where page 1 is just Janice Porter's face saying, "Harvey, is that you?" And then page 2 and 3 is a huge splash panel of Joker being like, "Guess again, it's me, and Scarecrow's here." And I needed a little bit of context for 3 giant pages full of just a big picture here. But I guess Janice Porter has come to the sewers looking for Harvey. And Joker says, Like it takes her to Harvey, but says he's going to hold on to her as like insurance because of their little love thing they got going on. So Harvey shoots Janice Porter right then and there and kills her. What? Feels like all this was for nothing. I thought she was going to be a little bit more important than that, but she's dead. And Harvey tells Joker, like, I only love my wife, and that's it. I'm married. Batman, meanwhile, finds Gordon. He says, hey, Janice Porter's missing. But look what I discovered. Janice Porter knew Two-Face in college. He was her first professor. Oh, my God, this proves so much.
So Harvey Dent was a professor at Harvard Law School?
No, at Gotham U, it looks like.
No, they said Harvard.
No,
she said before she transferred out of Gotham and went to Harvard.
Okay.
Yeah, but she was voted most likely to be DA. Is that a superlative at law school, Chris?
Not at any law school that I attended, which is only one. Yeah. So, but again, Harvey was a professor. Was he like an adjunct? Why was he teaching classes? And then
signing young girls' yearbooks.
Yeah. A law school. A law school yearbook.
And
maybe was this pre-law or something before she transferred to a law school? And because it says like Janice Porter Law School 1. I'm not sure if that means she's going to law school post Gotham or.
I thought it was exclamation point.
Yeah, one L would be your first year of law school. But yeah, I was so confused by that revelation. I was like, wait, it's one thing to say he's like an upperclassman or something, right? But to be like, no, he was her professor. I'm like, that is, I don't know, so stupid.
And the wrinkle that the year that he got married is the year that she transferred out of that school. Okay, yeah, that's a very. Like, you're not in law school for that long. That's who knows why she transferred.
How old is Harvey? This is year one continuity. How old is Harvey Dent supposed to be? I thought, again, in Batman Dark Knight, he was like maybe in his late 30s at most.
He's 60 here.
Yeah, here he's had a whole other career, and then it was the DA and was Commissioner Gordon before he's the commissioner's best friend. Then I guess did he have a kid with Gilda? I don't think they did.
I think they were trying, but she was it was super like misogynistic. She's too frail for a pregnancy or some bullshit like that.
Yeah. Which again, as we find out at the very end of the last Batman series, she was really the real killer. It wasn't Alberto at all, and we never see her, and there's no payoff of any of that.
I thought this was going to come back in this series somewhere.
That's why I thought she might have been Janice Porter.
Yeah, good guess. Lots of good guesses that we're coming up with that not touched on in this book at all. Alberto Falcone now wakes up in bed and he has Janice Porter's bloody body like dumped onto his bed, blood all over his hands.
Who's apparently she's kept for 2 weeks, which we learn later why, but.
Oh, yes, because of Mr. Freeze having the ability to, like, freeze her and keep her fresh. And then he hears his dad's voice telling him, like, yeah, this is fucked. You better just kill yourself. And he's like, wait a minute. My dad wouldn't say that. I don't think you're my dad. And he shoots the mirror. And it's the Calendar Man who has been living inside the walls of the Falcone estate. And he has been like set up a contraption to talk to Calendar Man. To talk to Alberto Falcone and tell him what to do and make him go crazy. What the hell? And Calendar Man's like, yeah, we went way too long with people not paying attention to Calendar Man. And here I am in the fucking walls. And I just laughed at this. I don't know.
It's pretty dumb.
It's pretty dumb. And it amounted to nothing in the end. Batman and Gordon just like find his body out in a field and his jaw's broken so he can't talk.
Calendar Man.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
And then because they don't know what exactly happened, right? They don't find Alberto or Sophia.
Right. Alberto put his little collar thing around his ankle bracelet around Calendar Man, so they'd find Calendar Man while Alberto and Sophia escape, and they haven't been seen. Wow. Meanwhile, they're looking over clues again at the Batcave, and Robin is here, and he's like, "Hey, you know this clue, this first one that says none of you are safe? What if it says 9 of you are safe, huh?" And they're like, "Whoa, there are 9 people on this chart that we have." And then they're
And
like,
the
"Yeah,
idea,
and
but
look at all the other clues and how they point to where they're like messages." And they read them again, and it's like, "Oh yeah, it makes sense." And I said, "Does it? These are all just like very common legal like phrasings.
right, justice for
None of
all and
them.
bullshit like that. Like that could
Like
mean
what?
And then it just starts targeting like Gordon's crew. Like the last 3 or 4 people are all members of Gordon's little squad.
Yeah.
So what does that have to do with anything?
What does any of it have to do with anything?" But Batman is very impressed by Robin's
Yeah.
critical thinking skills. He's like, "You're going to be a great detective."
it's highly dependent on this organizational chart only having 9 people on it, which really bothers me. It's like Sophia and Mario and Alberto and then the Vidi family of Lucia Vidi. Does Lucia have any relatives? Does she have does she have anybody else working for her that are not safe? Are we to assume that Lucia is safe but nobody else is? It's highly dependent on this particular rendering of the org chart.
This message is clearly to the cops. 9 of you are safe wouldn't make any sense because we're talking about mobsters. I'm saying Robin is wrong and Batman is wrong for encouraging him.
Yeah, because it's telling the cops none of y'all are safe. I'll kill every cop, regardless of whether or not you have a connection to Harvey Dent or whatever they think was at the time. Yeah. This is dumb.
So
this is fucking.
It really is none of you are safe, and Batman is like, "Fuck, Robin, you're a genius. It does mean 9 of you are safe, but none of whatever."
But there was like a knowing look to Alfred, like he's fucking wrong. But yeah, I'm trying to be positive here.
All right.
Try to boost the kid's confidence.
Batman now visits Falcone's old penthouse looking for clues, and he finds like a bookcase door that leads to a note that says "You lose," and he gets a noose around his neck. Oh my god! And the cliffhanger is, guess who finds him hanging by the throat? Catwoman. Hey, she's back. Cool.
She's been in Rome this whole time. We'll find out in 5 years.
She's been in Italy. Yeah, she's been hanging out in Italy. Batman. So Catwoman runs away, and Batman throws the pulley system that he was attached to at her and like hits her in the back so she can't run away.
Giant 2-page spread.
That seems too violent, Batman. Why would you do that to Catwoman? But Catwoman does reveal that she's been in Italy, and she says that the night that Sofia Gigante fell off of the roof, Catwoman was like going down with her and scratched her face just like her dad's face scratch.
And this is where I'm like, definitely she's
okay.
Carmine Falcone. She's have the same scratch.
And then this like glass breaks her fall and shreds off half of her face. And so then in Italy, they transplanted her dad's face onto hers. Did I get that right? Is that what happened? Or am I making that up? Did I make that up completely?
There's something weird about this.
She gets surgery to fix her face, but then scars herself on the other side, looking in a mirror.
Okay.
So I guess in Long Halloween, her scars are on the other side of her face. And then in this version, it's on the other side. And it's because she was looking at herself in the mirror, and after the scars were fixed, she then scarred herself again.
So in these few like panels, we got the reveal that actually her whole face was messed up, but then she healed herself. Then she scratched herself again. Okay, fine, whatever. We ended up back where we started, but it's on the other side.
She wrote Two-Face rules but it was in the mirror, so it was backwards for everyone reading it. You could only read it if you were reading it in a mirror. So everyone was like, Two-Face did that? Why would he write it this way? It doesn't even make sense.
Seems weird. Yeah, why would he?
This whole scene is stupid, though. Right before that, though, Catwoman goes like, "I know what you're thinking. I'm not the Hangman." And Batman goes, give me a reason to believe you." She goes, "I don't give a damn if you believe me." He's like, "Then why did you tell him? If you didn't care what Batman thought of you, why did you tell him you're not Hangman?" It doesn't make any sense.
Especially, he knows you're not. I mean, you're about to give them the clue anyway, but like he just went to the apartment looking for clues, found a secret room with a bunch of Hangman stuff in the like Sophia's apartment, and then a note that said "You lose." So yeah, it's pretty clear. Now, it would have been cooler if it was something other than what it is.
So, all right. So Catwoman says she went to Italy to try and find the surgeon that healed Sophia. And Batman's like, who is Sophia to you? Why do you give a shit? And then he doesn't wait for an answer and he just leaves. Okay, that's fine. Batman gets home and he takes off his gear. Turns out he was wearing like a metal neck brace thing that Alfred suggested. Good tip, Alfred. Good tip.
Again, in the Arkham City verse, he had just spent all his experience points on a neck upgrade.
Yeah, that's smart though.
Yeah,
I like to think he's been wearing it this whole time.
He's like, I don't need triple batterings this right now. I need the neck upgrade.
That's a good upgrade. Yeah, that's smart. So, he's a gamer. Batman's a gamer. He knows what he's doing.
He's a gamer. Just like he fought the Riddler in that episode of the cartoon.
Yes, that's a good episode. So now it's Columbus Day now, and instead of giving us like a regular murder, instead the book is like, we got too many characters here. Let's trim a ton of them out of here. And Two-Face and all the different villains kill a whole bunch of heads of the mob families at once. The Maroni twins, Lucia Vitti from Chicago, Skeevers, who's been hanging out with Zuko, and Bobby Gazzo, who I've never heard of before. But they're all dead.
Bobby Z.
And they're like, yeah. It's like, hey, this is going to be everyone's going to remember this. They're talking about this forever. It had no bearing on the rest of the story, I don't think. But it happened.
It's just like, it's a scene in like Goodfellas or whatever, where there's just a montage of the Joker like using piano wire to strangle someone. Where they're like, the old days of the Gotham mob was over.
I do like that. I do like that they're now showing their chart that they've killed like all the members of the Falcone crime family. The 9 of you are safe, but because Harvey's chair is in front of the poster, they had to then nudge Lucia Vitti over to the right just a smidge, compared to the image from the previous issue.
That's pretty good. We find out that Alberto got shot by Calendar Man. Just like, he's not bad. He's like, kind of hurt and he's lying down. His sister is taking care of him. They are hiding out at the Falcone family mausoleum. And Sophia's like, hey, can you like recover faster than that? No? Okay, then I'm going to smother you to death. And she smothers him to death. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what beef she had with Alberto, but yeah. I guess she's kind of nuts.
He's weak, and I guess if there haven't been enough clues, it's like, oh, she does have the strength to do this. So I mean, I think they've already kind of given it away by that point. But she strangles him, so she's the killer.
She's the killer. Meanwhile, Mario Falcone is meeting with Gordon and Lopez, who's like the last person alive in his crew, and Mario is like, yeah, I'll give you all the information. I just want immunity, whatever. And he says that Wilcox, the last woman on the Gordon crew, was on Sofia Gigante's payroll. And Batman comes in and says, Sophia's the hangman. I knew it. She was pretending to be wheelchair bound the whole time. She's fine. Oh my God. My notes skip a little bit. Sophia has Two-Face in a noose. Oh my God, where is this? It's like down in the sewers or something. This was all to get to Two-Face. That's why he was targeted. He killed her dad. Oh, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Of course. It's so simple.
Yeah. Batman finds her and starts beating her up so she can't kill Two-Face. And then Harvey shoots her in the head and hangs her instead. Okay, cool. And then Harvey and his crew go through a secret exit. And there's like an electrical wire thing there that Grundy has to get electrocuted for them to open it. Not Grunty. That's from Banjo-Kazooie. Grundy has to get electrocuted, and they open it. and this secret exit leads to the Batcave. What? What?
I like this. But they just stumbled into
Robin,
it. I like
it.
They
just stumbled into it. And they're like, where are we? What is this? And Robin is there, and Robin jumps off from like one cave thing to the other, and he's like, ha ha, and they're shooting at him, but Robin's real good, and he doesn't get hit by bullets. And then Batman comes in from behind, and he's there to help. And oh, wow, it's a real fight scene. Two-Face has like a gun on Batman. He's got a nice clear shot, but the Joker shoots Two-Face, and Two-Face falls off one of the little cave cliffs things. And then Robin hits Joker in the face with a pool cue. And
Yeah, knock some teeth out.
Knock some teeth out. Yeah, a lot of stuff happens. This is very much in the just like let's have things happen, and things just happened,
I
and they
I
kept
like
on happening.
when Robin first went to the Batcave. He's like, "What do you call this place?" He's like, I don't have a name for it yet." Like, how do you not have a name for it?
Yeah, you definitely got to call it the Batcave. And then yeah, Robin's in like his Robin costume, except the cape is very clearly just like I don't know, like a rug or a curtain or something. And there's he says, "What is that you're wearing?" No, I wrote it down because it was weird language here for 2 panels in a row. I don't know if Loeb got lazy or forgot how to use contractions or what. He said, "What is that you are wearing?" Which seems like a weird turn of phrase. And then in the next
is
page,
the bolded word also, which is a fun lettering choice. I wouldn't have.
okay, what is that you are wearing? I don't know.
I guess that's
and then,
good. That's probably the best line read now that you're saying it. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Still, it needs to
Good
be a
job,
contraction.
Chris.
I don't know. I don't know.
Thank you. My
Does
Batman
Batman-
performance, impeccable.
Does
Well,
Batman speak
and
in
then-
contractions?
Well, and then I feel like usually at least we'll do stuff to make sense. But then in the next panel, it really struck out at me because Gordon does the same thing talking to Batman, talking to about Two-Face. He says, "Do you really think that he is? Do you think that he is really dead?" And it's like you can say he's really dead. Do you think he's really dead? I don't know. It felt so unnatural to me. It took me out of all of this completely. Whatever.
I feel like Vision doesn't use contractions to jump
Right.
ahead, and maybe some other Avengers, but I think Batman would. There's not any reason
He actually
he's
uses. He says
yeah.
wasn't in the next panel.
Yeah,
his narration.
There you go.
Yeah. He's not that formal compared to, like I said, Vision or maybe Thor. I don't know. Well, Thor has his own contractions.
Robots and aliens and other dimensional beings. They don't know contractions, but
Right.
I feel like honestly that's a weird trope. It's like very easy for them to learn it. You can just program it super easily.
I mean,
Right?
I don't know.
Somebody teach the Vision to use contractions. That seems rude at this point. You're just like purposefully making him seem more of a robot.
I
He's just trying
cannot
to
do
be
that,
human.
Kia.
Oh my god.
You
All right.
can't do that, Vision.
Yeah, you can learn that. You can learn that, Vision. So we get into some epilogue kind of stuff here. Alberto's body was found in that mausoleum when they were burying Sophia, and they like found her fingerprints on everything. I guess I don't know. And Mario Falcone was like, "Oh my god, that sucks," and he burns down his family's estate.
Yeah.
There's
Like, I'm
okay.
leaving Gotham forever and never mention my name in other Batman comics. Goodbye.
I never thought of this narration as being like from the future, but the next little bit says, "I never heard from Catwoman again. Although I suspect with time I will." And I'm like, over what time period did you never hear from Catwoman again if your life is still happening? And you very much did. I don't know.
There's people.
Why would you write that?
There's people that I've not. I could probably safely say I never saw them again at this point. But I feel like a year is too short to say like
It's too short.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them in a year. I haven't seen them in a while. 5
Look,
years is probably a good time horizon, right? To say like,
Yeah, Vince, I never saw you again after that last time I saw you. It's been like 3 years.
I know
Wow.
in person, yeah. But like that's the thing. Like, there's definitely people like I've not seen since high school, and I guess I could say like I've never saw them again. But that sounds mysterious.
Yeah, it's a weird way of saying it. I don't know. And now,
But he
so
definitely saw
Catwoman
Catwoman within 5 years. Like he had to have.
Yes, of course. And then we get the Catwoman epilogue for no reason in this story.
So she's visiting Carmine Falcone's grave, and she's like, "Hey, I think you were my dad, but I'm not sure. But that's why I would purposefully steal from you. So thanks and bye."
Right.
Cool.
So we didn't mention. So Two-Face told all the other criminals in Gotham that he was going to break into a warehouse that had all this Falcone money, or like wherever their treasure was, and that's how they ended up getting to the Batcave. But it's basically implied that Catwoman has already stolen that, and she's used that to make Selina Kyle rich. I guess they don't really say that, but she does say like, "That's why I stole all this stuff from you, because I'm your daughter."
Wow. So then we have what is this panel with Two-Face and this frozen dude behind him? I thought that was Alfred.
It's a frozen Carmine. It's frozen Carmine Falcone.
Oh, it's Carmine Falcone. He's got the body because he sent the finger in the first half
Oh
when they
yeah,
cut
that
it off
finger
or
is cut off
something.
there. Yeah,
Right.
and it
Yeah,
hadn't
yeah.
decomposed. So I guess he's had
Right.
him for
Because it's
like 2
frozen.
years. He,
Sure.
well, he's
Yeah,
been
I
because
guess
he's
so.
been dead now. Falcone's been dead now 2 years because he was dead
Yeah.
1 year at the beginning of the story,
Yeah. The
and that was a
beginning of
year
Long
ago.
Halloween.
I am
Yeah.
still very impressed with how quickly Two-Face just rose into the ranks of supervillainy, considering that he put most of them behind bars.
He did
I don't know.
he did a really quick job. I mean, he was a young professor. He's had quite the illustrious career. He rose to
Yeah.
DA. He was a professor. He's got quite the background. I do appreciate. There was a one line. I don't know what issue it was. I think it's part of these epilogues. Like at the end of the day, Two Face is still Harvey Dent, still getting rid of all the criminals. Like that ended up being like his major plan, anyways. And I'm like, oh,
Yes.
that's cute.
Yeah. Again,
Alright.
so I feel like this book is trying to answer a bunch of things from year one, which is, they killed off Loeb and all the other cops that are in year one that are like all the corrupt Gotham, city cops that Gordon hates.
Mm.
And then it also has to solve the Catwoman is like a prostitute in year one, but like all the other like Catwoman appearances, she's like, has money and like comes from society and all that. So he's like, oh, I'll like
Okay.
give her a way of having this independent wealth. So it's kind of like trying to connect year one into like more regular Batman continuity, I think is,
That's clever.
and then getting rid of all the old gangsters that are not in Batman stories anymore.
That's interesting.
Alright,
That's
that makes
really
sense.
clever for like so start to finish like that. If that's your MO of like we need to get past the mob stories of year one to make this like make sense. We need to not fix Selena, but make the handshake there, and yeah, and get rid of all the corrupt cops. If every single cop was corrupt in Gotham in year one,
Yeah.
but they're not all corrupt in the continuity. How do we get there? How do you square that peg? That makes
Right.
sense. That's clever. Okay, I'm on board.
Yeah.
It is clever. It is not a super effective
Yeah.
storytelling
No,
tool.
that's
to get
that's
there.
an editorial cleverness and execution
Yes.
is questionable.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And the very last little bit here, Batman and Robin are a team now, and like Robin chooses a team, and Batman's like, "Hey, that yellow cape, you sure you want to do that?" And he's like, "Yeah, my parents did yellow, so that's what I'm doing." All right. You'll probably change your mind when you see how ineffective that is, but we'll get to that later. And yeah, they're a team now, Batman and Robin. Amazing. Yeah, I think we've been giving a lot of thoughts as we go through this. One thing I didn't mention that I did really like is the art for Sophia when she's like out of her wheelchair, and she does look like a big monster because her face has been all scarred up and all that, and she's drawn like in this monstrous form. She's drawn huge, and I was like, oh yeah, here it comes, the big reveal. This is really Carmine Falcone. And it didn't come, but she was definitely drawn as monstrous, so that was nice. And yeah, Tim Sale's art overall is really it's great.
I think
makes
some of his faces are funky, but I think like the mood is really good. I think he creates a really good mood, and his Poison Ivy fucking rules. I wish he would just do Poison Ivy stories.
Yeah, his Poison Ivy is real good.
Yeah, some of his action we've talked about in the previous episode. Some of his action I don't really like. It's hard to see exactly what's going on because it's so cartoony. But yeah, it's fun. Like Joker getting like 20 teeth knocked out. It's a like silly, kind of moment. Sales art is not the problem here.
Yeah. And Jeff Loeb's writing is pretty much what you expect from Jeff Loeb's writing. It's just kind of there, and it feels very twisty. You gotta throw in some twists for the sake of having some twists in there.
Not all of them make sense upon like while you're reading them, and then if you think more about them, you're like, that really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is so when was Long Halloween? That was 96,
97, I want to say.
Okay, so because I was reading another comic blog, and they were talking about how much he wanted to. He was the writer for X-Force, and he might have been the writer for another B tier X book, but he wanted to write Uncanny X-Men, and he thought he was going to get that job when I forget who, either Scott Lobdell or the other guy, I think it was the regular X-Men book. The writer left, but they gave it to Mark Waid unexpectedly. And so like it is very X-Men. He is just like mystery, 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 and it's
Mhm.
just like you're not actually setting up like where any of this is going. You're just like just throwing more and more like, oh, but what's his mystery?
You telling me a writer of Heroes and Lost that just cares about mysteries and no payoff? It doesn't lay
Yeah,
any
is a
groundwork.
mystery is a mystery box writer? No, I won't believe it.
Yep. Yep.
Loeb was on that, right? He was on Lost, right? I think he was at one point.
I don't remember if he was on Lost. I know he was on Heroes. And yeah, I mean, everything else he's done is, I mean, Long Halloween is probably the best regarded thing he's done. I don't think we were that high on it compared to like
No.
people love it. I don't know. I really am not a fan of his writing in general.
Yeah, but if you just want like a Batman story that hits all the beats, it gives you everything. It gives you a little bit of everything, and you get to see some Batman action and some adventures, and
Yeah,
you know
but
what?
I mean, that's also true of Hush, which I guess we should probably do at some
Yeah,
point.
is that also 12
Yeah,
issues or something?
Yeah, 12 issues, Jim Lee art. I forget who the writer is.
yeah. Who wrote
It's
Hush?
not a very well written comic, but it's the same thing where it's just like
Mystery.
he sees all the villains. Who could Hush be? It's a big mystery, and then when you find out who
It's
it is, you're like, what?
it's Jeff Loeb. Jeff Loeb wrote Hush.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah,
So
but that
do we
being
have
said,
to read it?
like I feel like I can read this. This is imminently readable. It is a totally fine afternoon. I've been reading the Clone
Exactly.
Saga in my spare time, and I say that I could probably read any Spider-Man book. Like just baseline, I enjoy Spider-Man. Even when it's bad, it's fine. And I would probably throw this in that same category. It's like, yeah, throw it on the pile. I guess there's more
Sure.
bad Batman books than there are bad Spider-Man books, but maybe that's not true. This is fine.
Eh,
I enjoy it.
It's um,
I don't know. I feel like
um
for a long time the average Batman book was good. Like for
Right.
basically like 1970 to like the wherever you want to put it in probably the 90s. Like Batman was probably DC's best book and they would put their best artists and writers on it for like forever.
Yeah, so throw me a Batman book. I'll read it. I'll enjoy my time with it. Same as I'm reading a bad Spider. Clone Saga has actually been pretty good for me so far. So
all
I'm
right.
sure it's gonna get worse. But
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Once the Jackal shows up and starts jokering all over the place.
I bought every single. There are 13 trades of 15 issues apiece, and I've read one of them so far
Oh
of
my
the Clone
God.
Saga. It's gonna be a while.
No Jackal yet, then I'm guessing.
Oh boy.
But we should probably
all right,
be
so
moving
let's-
on to the Korvac Saga. This is a long one.
We are
Luckily,
we're
it's
getting
only
to
18
Avengers.
pages.
Oh god, these are dense though. We're on Avengers 168. It's the second Avengers issue for the Korvac saga here. We've got the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're on a ship together. They're heading back to the mansion, but they're getting like no response from the mansion. They're like, "Where's Jarvis at?" And they got a little bit of banter going between them, so we can get to know some of the characters. Wonder Man's like, "Hey, I bet you think our ship is super old, huh, Martin X?" He's like, "Actually, yeah, it is kind of old. You're right." Nikki asks if it's hard for Wanda to concentrate with Thor hunking it up all over the place, and she's like, "I'm actually married."
I'm married to that hot
We
robot over
have
there.
Yeah.
this creepy robot that everyone is creeped out by all the time.
We should try using contractions. Less creepy. We have Major Vance Astro, who has stayed behind on the Guardians ship. He cannot risk meeting his younger self. He's from the past, and he, I guess, was like frozen in space for 1,000 years. So this version of the Guardians of the Galaxy is from the future, and they've come to the past to help beat Michael Korvac.
The future Justice. He doesn't want to interfere with the timeline and cause
Yes.
Justice to not join the Avengers, obviously.
Yeah,
Right,
we wouldn't want to have that happen.
No,
Yeah.
We wouldn't want to
Justice
miss
is
that.
too important.
So the Avengers get back to the mansion, and the alarm is blaring, and the elevator won't work, and everything is locked down. And Cap and Iron Man are like arguing with each other about what they should do, and everything's been ransacked, but nothing's been stolen.
I love the panel though of all the whole team was like, the elevator's not. We'll all climb the cords for the elevator. We're totally fine with this. They don't go up any stairs. It's a really well drawn panel by Perez. But I'm just like,
It's
this
good.
is really
It's good.
profoundly dumb, but I really like the scale of
Yeah,
it.
it is just fun action. Yeah, and then Vision, of course, using his ghostly powers, it creeps everyone except Wanda out. He's like, I'll just take a look at all the survey what's happening by just floating through everyone's room.
And then they get like a reading that like, oh, somebody's in the meeting room. Oh, and Iron Man has to melt the doors down so they can get in, and it is Henry Peter Gyrich, who's a special agent of the National Security Council and a total nerd jerk narc face.
Is he an X-Men dude? I feel.
Yeah,
I ask this every time he shows up, I think.
He shows up a lot. You go ahead, Chris. You can say it probably better than I can. I don't know entirely.
Yes, he is both a X-Men and Avengers, antagonist. He was, of course, in X-Men 1. He gets killed and replaced by Mystique. And so he's not in any of the Avengers Cinematic Universe, Marvel stuff because he's considered an X-Men character. But he's probably better known for his Avengers appearances during this era. He basically, in like 40 issues or 30 issues, when they have like 15 people that are like somewhat associated with the team, he's like, look, you guys, you can only have 7 people on the team. And he's just sort of this.
Because they have a charter, and there's a lot of things that go into that charter.
Yes.
Chairman, as we'll learn about in just a minute.
I was gonna say we'll talk. Charter talk is on the next page, which is amazing.
Yeah, he's just like a government stick in the mud who gives the Avengers shit for everything, and he says,
as an attorney, I kind of get his point of view here.
Sure,
there's a huge security risk. You left no one behind. You have only automated security and one butler.
Yeah, there's a giant hole in the building, and I walked in. I could have stolen.
Any bad guy could have done this, stolen all the secrets.
You have like a direct line that only can be like to like U.S. security. Like you could just, I'm absolutely buying what he's selling. It does have like
makes sense.
It has the stupid writing in here that I really hate. That's like I always see like in video game cutscenes where he's like, "Hey, everybody should come in this meeting room. Next panel. Okay, now we're all here." And I'm like, "There's got to be a more elegant way to say bring everybody in this room." Okay, we're here.
Yeah, and it's very like, did you have to do all that? You couldn't just like say like, hey guys, can y'all fix this hole in the wall? You had to come in and literally tie up Jarvis the butler to prove your point. Like, come on, man.
This is how easy it was. Jarvis could have fought you off. No, he fucking couldn't.
Jarvis feels bad about it.
Look, I put a little flag on the email last week, fix hole in roof. Nobody did anything. So now the next level is in-person meeting where I kidnap your butler.
This is also where I forget that Jarvis is a person. Because I'm so used to like the movie version where he's like a robot.
Where he and Vision are the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Jarvis is like, hey, maybe I should take some martial arts classes or something. What is it, like judo or something? And Iron Man's like, hey, it's nobody's fault, man. Remember a few issues ago when Nefaria got to the mansion and like busted through the wall? And then Captain America gets super pissed at Iron Man and says, hey, Iron Man, it's your fucking fault Nefaria even got close to the building. This team sucks now that you're the leader. And like, what? And Iron Man's like, hey, Cap, listen. And Cap punches him in the face. And it escalated very quickly. Wanda stops them with some magic and a nice line about how the Avengers will never fight amongst themselves again. Yeah, great. Of course.
It's amazing. Captain America is like a basketball diva where he's just like, this is my team. You ruined it. I want to trade out of the Avengers.
Yeah. He goes off on him, man.
I want to join the champions. I'm sick of these guys.
And then I think he distracted from the main point because I don't think anybody fixes the hole.
Not this issue. And also, he doesn't know that Iron Man is Tony Stark.
Oh yeah.
So he says something like, "Look, I know you're just a mercenary, but you've been so busy running errands for Tony Stark." He's like, "Look, we're all entitled to our private lives under the charter." And he's like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
And then Wanda too. Wanda's like, "What about you, Cap? Like, you've missed a bunch of missions because of personal things, and in the Nefaria fight, you actually stopped me from taking him out." And he's like, fine. I'm out of here.
Yeah, Cap's. I don't know what's going
He's
on
your
with Cap
hothead.
right now. Yeah.
Cap is the Wolverine of the Avengers. I never would have guessed.
Yep. Yep. We get a scene on a train that I don't know how it's going to connect to everything else here, but we have Hawkeye and somebody named Two Gun, who's
Two Gun
like
Kid.
a cowboy type of character. The Two Gun Kid. Okay. I don't
He's
know that I've
somehow-
ever actually read anything with the Two
He's
Gun
time
Kid.
traveled though. He said because like he
Yeah,
talks about like I wish I was back in my times.
Yeah, we read Avengers Forever, which he very briefly has an
Oh.
appearance when they go to the Western town in the
Yeah.
past.
I
He's
remember
there.
the Western town.
I do.
So they're on a train.
I do really like he does like a magic trick. Two Gun Kid does like a magic trick where he throws all the cards up in the air, and then Hawkeye shoots just the 4 aces with his arrows into the ceiling. Which that sucks. Whoever has to clean that up and respackle that,
Yeah.
it's gonna suck. But it's a train, so I'm assuming they just ripped a hole through the roof of the train.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, it's just regular arrows.
Yeah, it's all right. It's for a show for the people. It's fine. You're allowed to do that. And I guess they're headed. They were on the West Coast Avengers at this time, and they're heading back east to the regular Avengers for some reason. And
this is before the West Coast Avengers exist.
Oh, okay. Never
They're
mind.
just coming back from the adventure that I guess spit Two Gun back into the present.
Okay, fair enough. And Two Gun Kid, they're like talking, and Two Gun's like, "Yeah, I'm out of here." He just kind of blinks away, and Hawkeye goes, "Where'd he go?" So that's that. The Guardians now are suspecting. They're saying like, "Hey, we think Korvac's back in time to kill Vance Astro." Is this the first time we'd seen them actually say that? And, like, that's
No,
their plan?
I think it's been
Yeah,
alluded
they said it
to.
last
Maybe
issue.
even both the last 2 issues.
Okay, well, that's the first I really
I mean, I
remember
forgot
that.
it. There's so much going on.
Yeah. But they're like, yeah, he's going to ruin everything. And also, Starhawk has left, but he'll be back, we think. He's like that loner dude who was flying outside the ship in the first one that we read. And so now we see, this is a little bit of a weird scene to describe. In the last issue, there was Karina, what was her name? Karina something or other. She was a fashion model at the Wasps show. And Michael Korvac, like, I don't know, abducts her in a weird way and like possesses her or hypnotizes her. Who knows? So they're in this like weird home, and another woman named Aletta shows up to the home and meets Michael Korvac. But Aletta is like Starhawk's like astral vision version or something, and the Michael guy is Michael Korvac's version, and they have like a weird astral fight deal that I very much don't understand what's going on here. There was a lot of cool stuff in it, but I was trying to figure out, there was kind of too much in here, and I didn't know what to focus on because it was just a lot.
It was some dope art, though.
Dope art. Very dope art.
George Perez drew some really cool kind of Jim Starlin-esque stuff that I really enjoyed. You don't usually see this from Perez, but I like it a lot.
Yeah.
With like weird
the
panel.
fighting.
Yeah.
The astral fighting doesn't end up amounting to much because by the end of it, Starhawk ends up coming back to the Guardians, and the Avengers are like, oh boy, listen, all I know is that this shit's important. We got to keep going with our mission because this is big. All right, thanks Starhawk. We'll keep doing what we were doing. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it is like, this big battle where he kills Starhawk, and then the next page is like, I bring him back to life just so that everything is fine. No one notices.
Just to show my dominance.
Okay. There was like a weird storm that got created that Spider-Man and MJ, they make a quick cameo. They see it as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, it does the thing that X-Men cartoon taught me means the story is important, which is it does like 1 second cutaways to other heroes. And you're like, wow, it must be important if Doctor Strange and Spider-Man think it's important.
Yeah, this is so big that other people can see it too. Wow.
Yeah, because Doctor Strange is like, there's like a disturbance in the Force, and then Silver Surfer is like, what? Something's going on. But none of them actually figure out like that it's Korvac, and so he kills Starhawk and is like, I'm gonna bring you back, but now you don't know what happened, and you work for me, I guess.
All right. Yeah, it feels like we still have not really gotten to the meat of this story. We're still just kind of laying a lot of the groundwork here. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes because I'm enjoying a lot of little touches and everything. I don't like Henry Peter Gyrich.
No,
I think he sucks.
It's a very fragmented
I think he's
book.
a great character.
I mean, you need that kind of guy. Like this guy has no dick from Ghostbusters guy. Like you need that guy just to be there.
Sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
like this book is so fragmented. This in the last issue, like it feels like there's a lot of like Avengers, Captain America stuff, and then it like just cuts to somebody else, which is the Two Gun Kid Hawkeye stuff. I'm like, what is this one page? And then it loops back into the the Starhawk stuff. This one at least comes back to the Avengers at the end. I feel like the last issue did not. It just ended. It just like the back half of the issue was just the fashion show with Janet Van Dyne.
Well,
And it
part
was
of
weird.
that, like part of I think our like that read on it and how it's segmented is also just like I kind of like how comics used to be a little bit more like that, and it's
Right.
like it's always connected, and there's always some scene that's leading to it might not be part of this current story that you're reading, but it's going to come into play later, and like in this like writing for the trade kind of world, it doesn't really work like that anymore.
Yeah, I think
But
also because
there's
it's not cutting cross cutting. It's more just like or sandwiching those scenes in. It's like this is
Mhm,
that
mhm,
half, and then this is that half. Is different
mhm.
for me.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
And
Um,
like there hasn't been a ton of time to sort of get through like all of the teams stuff, but like you've got sort of the Cap Iron Man
So good.
dissension subplot, and then you've got kind of the rest of the team. Like Thor's been disappearing, what's going on with that? And then Wonder Man was having that conversation in the last issue where he's like, I don't know if I am cut out for this. I don't want to be killed. So that's kind of his ongoing subplot. So the
he
characters kind of have something that tells them who's
Yeah,
who.
I did like that when Guy Ritchie is like, "Hey, even you just brought a whole bunch of strangers into your crew. Do you even know who these people are?" And he's like, "And there's even people on your team right now who don't have the proper security clearance." And Wonder Man's like, "I think he's talking about me." Like he doesn't. He seems like he's not cut out for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it's still an enjoyable read here. Just kind of waiting to see where it gets to. These are just building block issues. It feels like. But yeah, the art in this was really good, very enjoyable. Um, Curious about this Two Gun Kid. Want to see more of him. But yeah, so next time we will continue reading the Avengers. So this whole Korvac Saga thing, the next Avengers issue in order would be 169, but we're skipping that one and going to 170. What's in 169? Do y'all know?
I don't know.
It is something I think it involves a clone of or robot of the Wasp. So it's kind of a unrelated subplot, and then at the
Yeah.
end, it's going to tie back into the Korvac stuff. So it's just a one-off
Okay.
thing where Wasp and Hank Pym are going to deal with Ultron's robot kids, basically Joe Casta
Perfect.
and somebody else.
Perfect.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
Marv Wolfman and like Sal Buscema, so it's not even like the team.
No,
got
yeah,
it,
it's
got it.
it's a
Okay.
completely
So
it's we're not going to miss anything in this story. It's just like we're for an issue sending, people who are not even technically on the team but are appear in the book to do something.
And the
great.
reading order in a Marvel Unlimited will tell you to go to 170. So
Yeah. Great. So Avengers 170, and then what else are we reading here? Our main read for next time, something we've never done before. We're gonna read some Sonic the Hedgehog. Whoa. I've never read a single Sonic the Hedgehog comic. It feels like an impenetrable world to me, and we're gonna get in there and meet all these weird characters. We're reading from the Archie Comics run, which was like I guess the big run. They're currently published by IDW.
that's correct.
I guess the license switched over at some point, but the main Archie Comics series has started in like 93, 94. We're reading that one. We're reading Sonic the Hedgehog number 47 through 50. It's Endgame, and was supposedly like a pretty pivotal moment in the Sonic comics that really made it like a bit more of a serious comic than just like, hey, video game character adventures, haha.
That
But that's all
comic,
I really know about it.
I know a few things, and we'll get into in the main episode. But like
Mhm.
the comic ran for like 280 something issues. I think it ran from 1993 to 2016. It was the longest running video game and I like licensed comic ever, which is insane on its front. And I remember when I worked at my comic company, one of my coworkers was the artist on Sonic the Hedgehog like in 07, 08, and I'm like, really? There's still a Sonic comic? Are you kidding me? Um, and it's like unbroken continuity. It had like a reboot like issue 215 or something, but it was unbroken continuity for 200 plus issues. It's insane. and serialized, which is where this Endgame story is where it starts serializing. So it should be interesting. I have no idea if it's any good. I want to do justice to it because I worry like people care more about Sonic the Hedgehog than I do. So I'm going to go in with an open mind.
We do not need to cater to any Sonic fans. I refuse to temper my opinions
Thank
about
you.
Sonic.
sucks. Mario rules. You will never.
Well, hold on.
change my
I'm
mind.
not saying that yet. I'm gonna
Wow.
let it fall as it will. I don't. This video game tribalism needs to stop. It's tearing me apart.
You heard it here first.
I heard they teamed up for the Olympic Games.
Yeah, on my show, that was a game. They had this, which I recently covered on my YouTube series. That was a game on the All My Friends Are Right Here channel. I haven't figured out what my March video is going to be yet, but we'll figure that out soon. And you can listen to every episode of this show, starting with episode 34, which is pretty much most of them now at this point. On the All My Friends Are Right Here YouTube channel, you can check that out.
That was the most seamless transition we've made to a plug probably ever. I'm pretty proud of that. That was good. Wow. And then I've called attention to it, so this is not seamless.
That was kind of a stupid mind part of us. Our minds were stupid.
Our minds were so stupid.
Chris now would go, well, your stupid minds, not mine. That would be the segue.
Chris, how's the other podcast doing?
My bad movie podcast.
What's it called again?
What is it called? Almost 200 episodes. Your Stupid Minds. We just recently did. I don't think we're doing a full series, but we did one at least worst of 2021 film. We did the movie Vanquish with former, I guess, comic book adjacent actress Ruby Rose was Batwoman.
Oh,
for 2 seasons. One season or 2 seasons.
Okay.
And Morgan Freeman. It is a really, really bad sort of John Wick, esque action movie where Morgan Freeman has kidnapped her daughter and needs her to act as a courier for 5 deliveries for her Uber Eats order. And each of the deliveries seems to have some sort of past with her character, and there's a big mystery. But it's so bad. This is definitely one. There's plenty of movies where I'm like, oh yeah, people should watch it. Don't watch Vanquish. It was very painful. There's got to be like something to explain how this movie was made, because it is truly baffling in a way that most movies with like a real star. I mean, I wouldn't call Ruby Rose a movie star, but Morgan Freeman.
She was in the Meg. Thank you.
Yeah,
very much.
she's close. She's a supporting actress in major movies, and this movie, like, there's not a single extra. There are editing choices that are just so strange. Like, there's scenes where she gets information from Morgan Freeman, gets on her motorcycle, and as she's riding away, you hear voiceover of Morgan Freeman from the conversation that she just had with him, where he's like, remember what I told you? Just pick up these things. It's like, yeah, we all remember. There's been no cutaway.
Yep. I like how your first your third line in your first paragraph on the show notes is this a money laundering scheme? We'll find out on Your Stupid Minds.
That's right.
Amazing. And I'm just playing
one day
Elden Ring.
we'll get to the bottom of this.
And if you ask us a question, it's not libel or slander.
Yeah, that's true. You can say anything you want if it's in the form of a question. I'm just asking question. Yeah. Let's I think we're done with this episode. Vince, I love you.
I love you too.
Chris, I love you.
I just disappeared from this plane of existence.
That's really rude. Every time. Have y'all noticed this? How something happens every time. And I'm Kia. Listeners, we love you as well. Thank you so much for joining us all the time. It means a lot to us. And we'll see you next time. Have a good night. Or have a good... I say good night every time because it's night here. We've got this. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.